All right, shout out to the mighty Who Dat Nation. We up in this thing. Big Q. Shout out to FanDuel, the official sponsor of the show. Feel free to go to FanDuel for all your prop bets. In this one, man, we'll be talking about the impacts, man, of what we call as the Saints' costly delay in this episode, man, of the show. So feel free to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and by all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed. Big Q and the Who Dat Nation, we up in this thing, man. Shout out to the fam. Now, fam, the Saints' costly delay. Why? Because if you hadn't heard yet, man, the interesting news that had came out is the fact that, guess what? The Seattle Seahawks have inked Jaxon Smith-Njigba to a record extension. This is a record extension. If you haven't known, Jaxon Smith-Njigba, the reigning NFL Offensive Player of the Year, has reached an agreement with the Seahawks at a 4-year, $168.6 million extension that makes him the highest paid wide receiver in the entire history of the entire NFL, according to ESPN. The deal averages at over $42 million per year and includes over $120 million in guaranteed money, both record-setting for a wide receiver in this NFL. Now, with this new agreement, the two-time Pro Bowler is contractually tied to Seattle through the 2031 season. Now, Seattle already exercised its fifth-year option for the 27-year, worth about almost $24 million last week. Now, Smith-Njigba deal with Seattle is the latest jump in the wide receiver market, one that will impact the division rival Rams, who could be working on an extension with Puka. And he's entering the final year of his season, and Njigba's salary eclipses the previous high for Jamar Chase, who was $40.25. The receivers with the next highest annual average value, Chase is Justin Jefferson, $35 million. CD Lamb, $34 million, DK Metcalf, $33 million, and Garrett Wilson, $32.5 million. So this was a huge deal, and I know this is Seattle news, but this impacts the New Orleans Saints in many different ways, fam. So let's kind of move into an article. Y'all can check this one out on whodatdaily.com. We talked about this article, and I kind of, over the last couple of hours, actually, I was kind of working out a broadcast about the delay in Chris Olave and what's taking so long to get this done. And listen, man, it's not easy. So let's get right into this article right here. The Saints are now facing a contract dilemma that has rapidly escalated into one of the most important decisions of their current era. What would once looked like a manageable extension for wide receiver Chris Olave has turned into a high-stakes negotiation following the market-shattering deal given to Jaxon Smith-Njigba. At over $42 million per year with $120 million guaranteed, that contract didn't just reset the wide receiver market, it raised it to a level that now directly impacts the Saints' ability to retain one of their most productive offensive weapons. Before this market shift, Olave's projected value was widely believed to fall anywhere between 30 to 32 million range annually. That number appears outdated. In today's market, Olave's floor has risen to at least 35 million per year, with a realistic ceiling approaching 40 million. This dramatic increase has placed the Saints in a difficult position, forcing them to negotiate under conditions they no longer control. The reality is simple. The Saints should have moved sooner. By delaying negotiations, they allowed external market forces to dictate Olave's value rather than securing him earlier at a more team-friendly number. Now, let's put a pin in that, and we'll continue in a second. But I just wanted to let the family members know that we were talking about, like, if the Saints seen Olave as a person that they wanted to have further into his career with Tyler Shuck, the franchise quarterback, a deal like this should have gotten done before we got into last year. Now that he played his entire career, I mean, his this entire season, this past season, and had career highs, we were saying that he wanted north of $30 million. He wanted near Garrett Wilson's money, 30 to 32 million. Now, I did a short that we put out there that was coming up. That's a part of a show that will be rolling out here today or tomorrow, I forget. But the reality is that I think it's tonight. But this is the thing, is that the Saints had an opportunity to step on this thing and move it forward a while ago. Waiting doesn't help you. Now, the Saints allow the market to dictate the value of players in past seasons, right? And it kind of benefited it. Now, this is a situation where it went into reverse, right? The Saints could have saved themselves a lot of money. Now, as you know, with the spike in the market, that directly impacts Chris Olave's asking price. You know, this helps him. The delay helps him because Njigba signing, the Smith-Njigba massive contract, helps elevate the floor for Chris Olave, who's now smiling from ear to ear, even more so, right? So with that being done, the Saints had reservations about paying him that kind of money. Now that it is spiked, man, you best believe we'll see what they do with it. It's going to be interesting to see just how the Saints handle the situation, to be honest with you, because if they had issues with his money before, you know, you can imagine what it will look like now. So anyway, deals like Garrett Wilson now look like missed opportunities for comparison rather than benchmarks to build from. Timing in this case wasn't just important, it was everything. And New Orleans lost that advantage. Olave's production supports his elevated price tag. It does. Coming off a season with 100 receptions, over 1,000 yards, second team All-Pro recognition. He has firmly established himself among the league's top receivers. More importantly, he serves as a critical piece of the development of young quarterback Tyler Shuck, giving the Saints a reliable, explosive option in the passing game. Letting a player of that caliber go a walk or even entertaining that possibility carries a significant on-field consequence, or maybe consequences. However, the situation is complicated by more than just performance. Olave is currently playing on a $15.4+ million fifth-year option for the 26th season. A figure now looks significantly below market value. From his perspective, the priority is security. With a history that includes multiple concussions, Olave has strong incentive to secure long-term guarantees before taking another snap. $120 million guaranteed in Smith-Njigba's deal has effectively become the benchmark that Olave's camp will pursue. Now, we know that he can't exactly get what Njigba's getting, right? But it does elevate the asking price where he was around 30, 32. Now it goes between 35 and 30. This is what he's going. This is what is, if you're thinking that this is not going to impact his asking costs against the Saints, I think this, you could be wrong here. This is how it works. When you see players in the same area get more money and they're negotiating, all of these guys will then look at that contract based on statistics and numbers and try to work an arrangement, the agent will, to get its player the most money that it possibly can based on statistics, age, all this kind of stuff, right? But for the Saints, the financial challenge is substantial. A deal in the $35 to $40 million range will consume a significant portion of the team's salary cap, potentially exceeding 15%, while general manager Mickey Loomis has a long track record of manipulating the cap through restructures and signing bonus. Committing to a contract of this magnitude introduces a long-term risk. The Saints must protect themselves, right? Now, securing the deal to lower the immediate cap hit potentially into the $6 to $7 million range, and for 2026 would push financial strain into the future, meaning signing a deal and then working it down in the first years like we see Loomis doing, where it's not going to be 30 or whatever it would be if he signed the deal, right? It'll be closer to 6 or 7 so they can have that money available this year on the cap. As negotiations continue, trade speculation has begun to surface. Teams such as the Patriots, the Steelers, and Bills have reportedly shown interest, recognizing Olave's value as a proven number one wide receiver. Now, for the Saints, A trade could bring back some premium draft capital and provide cap relief, but it would signal a major shift in a different direction. Now, moving Olave will leave a significant void in the offense and raise questions about the team's commitment to building around its young quarterback, because let's be clear. And I heard a lot of the family members talk about this. I heard a lot of the family members make mention of this, and on asking them about, what do you guys think? Is he a $30 million wide receiver? I got a few people that said Q paid a man, but I got a lot of people that was saying Q, no, he's not 30 million. No, he's not 30 million. No, he's not 30 million. And that was kind of interesting to me, the commentary that I got from there. Shout out to the family members on that, because it is, I ain't gonna even say it's a split. There's a lot of people saying that, hey man, he's not worth no 30 million, Q. He's not worth $30 million. And I'm like, wow, but my thing is this. I think Chris Olave is, to me, he's worth the money, simply because, and follow me on this one, simply because you do not have any other wide receiver that has done close to what he's done. The Saints have approached the free agency period. We're already through the first layers into the second layers, and there are guys available that are a significantly reduced rate. But you remember, it's the camaraderie that he has with Tyler Shuck. And to simply remove him, he was the best option the Saints had last year. To be honest with you, it wasn't Alvin Kamara. It wasn't Juwan Johnson early. It was Chris Olave. Chris Olave was kind of struggling just like Juwan Johnson. But later on, he really carried the offense in many straights. He really carried the offense. He exploded had all these he had career numbers in the year. And he was like, listen, I could do this. I could stay healthy. And he stayed healthy. He put the concussion helmet on. He did that. He stayed healthy. And he had record numbers to justify him getting paid. Now, you can't argue that he had these numbers and he carried the damn many of these Saints games. I know he kind of let us down in the Miami Dolphins game when he dropped that touchdown. We would have beat the Dolphins. But more positive than negative than Chris Olave. He's a pro. This is a guy that is an explosive option. He's been basically being a Saints top wideout without having a compliment. The team hadn't consistently given him a wide receiver to play off of. So it's been basically him and a bunch of other guys. Remember, Mike Thomas couldn't stay healthy when they paired him with him. Then they brought in Cedric Wilson Jr. He was a bust. Then they brought, it was just like musical chairs opposite of him in the wide receiver. He never had a true competent, consistent number one, whatever, however you want to classify him, but he never had a dancing partner on the opposite end that he could play off of. It was mostly just him out there and musical chairs at the wide receiver position. He still produced. Right now, he did have the injury history, the concussions, people hitting your head. Y'all know my stance on that is that how you protect when somebody's hitting you in your head. How do you protect against that outside wearing the concussion helmet and the extra padding? But when they target your helmet, it's up to the referees to kind of protect you insofar as, and you just have to be aware of what to do, right? How to get down, get out of the way, this sort of thing. But if they're hitting you in your helmet, that's difficult for them to stop. You have to protect yourself, getting down early when you catch the ball, being careful, this sort of thing. Just being smart about it, which he's done. He's starting to do those things. But I understand what people are saying about he's not worth $30 million. I would have to say he is, because as great as some of these wide receivers that we see in free agency that's still there, these are guys at the current price points that you bring in. These are veterans. They can help you. But Chris Olave is a home run option. He's still very much in the prime of his career. To me, he's earned the payday. This is the elevated price of doing business as a wide receiver in the NFL with his catches and what he's done for the Saints and their offense. And you don't have a competent, I'm not being disrespectful to our wide receivers because I got love for all of them. But whether it's Devon Vele or Mason Tipton or Jalen Polk or Bub Means or Kevin Austin Jr., these are untested people. They're greatly untested. And, untested people, they don't have the same track record as Chris Olave has in terms of producing in the NFL on a consistent level. So the Saints have, in my opinion, it's only two options. Either you pay the asking price of what the league is growing. Smith-Njigba is taking it there. He's elevating the market past Chase. That's crazy work. That is that high. But he benefits because of the statistics, and he'll get more money too. It's like one wide receiver broke through the ceiling, the glass ceiling, and elevated for everybody else. So he is one of these guys now that said, hey, man, listen, I balled out. Pay me my money. Give me a 3 or 4 year deal. Let's work it out. Get back to business. So this is going to be interesting because I know what the Saints are thinking, because they're looking at Chris Olave's money, and then 2 years from now, or maybe not this year, but next year, between next year and the 4th year on Tyler Shough, it's going to be a big one. It's going to be a massive deal. It's going to be a big contract for Tyler Shough on the horizon, maybe a year and a half from now. And I can see what they're trying to do because they got him on a 2nd round contract right now. But I'm telling you, in 2027, between 27 and 29, the Saints are looking at that saying, man, we're going to have to break the bank for this guy. So they're kind of position themselves there. And perhaps this could be a part of the strategy of why should I give Chris Olave $30 million, or not even 30, it's 32, between 32 and 35 million. And then it went up again. It's 32 to 35. I said somewhere between there. And the Saints already taken a long time to make up their minds on it, which indicates that they're not comfortable at that price point. Now that the market is spiked, they now have to, at some point, either pay this man or entertain offers to trade for him. If you're not going to pay him, then you're going to have to end up moving him. So this is where we are right now, because I thought the Saints would have this done. I thought this deal would be done by now. I thought it would be done before we got to the second levels of free agency. I thought the Saints would had this done by now. But as they keep waiting, now the market is elevated, and that works against the Saints. That floor has risen. So ultimately, the Saints are now left with a decision that will define the near future. Pay Olave at the market inflated rate, or pivot toward a different roster building strategy. The most dangerous outcome would be allowing the situation to linger unresolved. If Olave plays out the season without a new deal, the Saints risk losing him for minimal return or facing an even more complicated negotiation down the line. Hopefully it don't come to that. We're right. We are still some time away from the draft. The Saints can make moves. We've seen wide receivers get traded. We've seen Waddle from Miami get traded to Denver. We've seen players get traded this offseason. And whether this will happen with Chris Olave, it's kind of tipping toward that. If the Saints had problems at his price point prior to Njigba, then what makes me think they're going to be any comfortable going forward. This is a conversation they got to have, man. This could be and like I've said, this is a huge decision to be made by the Saints, because Chris Olave has operated as the top wide receiver for the Saints for a couple of years now, and he had no complement, and there is no fallback option that you could say has done it at a high level consistently that's currently on the Saints team. So what began as a routine contract extension has evolved into a high-pressure standoff shaped by timing, market dynamics, and risk tolerance. The Saints had an opportunity to act early and secure a cornerstone player at a reasonable price. Now that window has closed, and the cost of waiting has become clear. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what happened for the black and gold moving forward, man. But all I can tell you is, damn, Smith-Njigba really done elevated everything, haven't he? I mean, this guy has really elevated the market with the black and gold to a point where it's going to be interesting to see how this all shapes going forward. But what do you guys think? Put it in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. I heard from a great deal of you guys. Are there any pro Olave people out there like myself that want to see Chris Olave? I think he deserves the money. I think he earned the money, $30 million, but I can understand if the Saints are kind of looking down the line and saying, hey, man, we might won't be able to go in a different direction. I get that, but at the same time, man, I just think that if a guy produces and he does what he said he's going to do and he does it and he breaks through, because remember, going into last season, the Saints wanted to see if Chris Olave could stay healthy and produce at a high rate to give him his paper. Well, the trade deadline passed. They did not trade him, right? He went into the offseason. The Saints picked up his option. He produced. He stayed relatively healthy. The only thing that kept him out was he had a clot in his lung that shut him down for the final game of the season. But barring that, he would have finished. He would have played. It took a blood clot in his lung to stop him. So I'm not going to hold that against him, but he did what he was supposed to do. He stayed healthy. And not only that, he broke through his ceiling and had record numbers on his, this past season. You have to pay him. You either pay him or you trade him. That's the only options that we got. But what do you guys think? Y'all put it in the comment section. Let me know how y'all feel about this whole thing, man, dealing with that situation. All right, shout out to FanDuel, the official sponsor of the show. For all prop bets, go to FanDuel. They got you covered. And, of course, shout out to the mighty Who Dat Nation, the great Saint think tank. Y'all feel free to check out the WhoDatDaily.com for that article and be able to share that around. Also, man, hit the like button, the sub button, the subscribe button. Hit the buttons. Light them all up, especially the sub button on our push to 15,000 subs, man. We getting close. If you can help us out with that, if you're not a sub, man, hit the sub button and let me know how you feel about this particular topic as well. This is a very interesting topic, a discussion in the mighty Who Dat Nation, man. It really is, man, to hear what you guys think about this. I think Chris deserves his money. I think he should be paid. I like Chris Olave. I think he did what he was supposed to do, and the Saints should pay him. But I've been hearing a lot of family members that like, nah, Q, he ain't this, he ain't that. But how do you guys feel? Let me know in the comment section, man. This is most interesting. Listen, that's all I got for you on this one. Listen, I'll be back later to holler at you with another report. Hit the notification bell to be in tune on all things Saints. I'm going to holler at you on the next one. Much love, peace, and who that tell you.
Who that say they gonna beat them Saints? Who that? Who that? Who that say they gonna beat them Saints? Who that? Who that? Who that say they gonna beat them Saints? Who that? Who that?
Hey, New Orleans! Whether you're catching up on Saints news at Jackson Square, checking Pelicans scores in the Garden District, or staying updated on LSU while grabbing coffee in the French Quarter, there's one place that keeps you connected to everything that matters in our city. From Bourbon Street to the Superdome, from Preservation Hall to the Riverfront, New Orleanians are staying in the know with the WhoDatDaily.com, your daily source for Saints, Pelicans, LSU, and all the sports, music, and culture that makes our city special. At work downtown, at a game in the Dome, or just relaxing by the Mississippi, wherever life takes you in the Big Easy, you can stay connected. Because when you're from New Orleans, you don't just live here. You stay in the NO. That's stay in the know. Visit the WhoDatDaily.com and never miss what matters most to Who Dat Nation.
Welcome to the Pro Shop, where we create authentic, NOLA-inspired clothing for men, women, and children. From Saints jerseys to Pelicans gear, everything's crafted right here in New Orleans. Whether you're shopping the Pro Shop, the Pel Shop, or the Pro Shop Kids, we've got your whole family covered with genuine merchandise that represents our city's spirit. Check for links in the description section below or in the chat.